Joe Biden a clone controlled by evil reptilian overlords? Well, let's talk about that, and also the whole idea of shape-changing reptilians running the world. Let's talk more about that. So get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe, and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Okay, yeah, so Elizabeth April is saying that she has discerned that Joe Biden is indeed a clone and he is controlled by evil reptilians. Let's give a listen.
Hopefully it doesn't happen again. Once again.
Yeah, before when she was talking about this, she was suspiciously cut off in the middle of a live stream.
I took a look at the soul of Joe Biden, and I see that the soul inside his body is not his original one, all right? And apparently the original one, the original soul, all right, was replaced quite a long time ago. I'm just kind of restarting for everyone. It's super suspicious, right? That okay, I'm just not even going to get into it. So once again, this is apparently the 6th or 7th Joe Biden rendition. This is the this is the 6th or 7th Joe Biden clone body. There are another 3 in storage, and then there's one more that they're making right now.
And here's what she has to say about the reptilians.
This is a note that I wrote. He or the consciousness in the body, because it's not the original Joe. He or the consciousness in the body has no say in any of the decision making. It is a group of beings, mainly reptilian, who are making the decisions through Biden.
So yeah, there you go. That's what Elizabeth April was saying. Joe Biden's a clone. He's controlled by reptilians and Illuminati type figures. Now, I'm not going to get political. I'm not going to talk about Joe's politics or Trump's politics or anything like that. But just in this specific example, could Joe Biden be a clone? Personally, I think it's more likely that he just has dementia. My dad had Alzheimer's. I'm very sensitive to Alzheimer's, and I don't say that lightly or jokingly. It was a very tragic thing, and, if Joe Biden has that, I think that's very tragic. Now, it's interesting that sometimes he can be pepped up and he can talk semi-lucidly. Of course, some of that has to do with editing, and some of that may even have to do with AI. If you go over to Deco Voice and watch his video here, he talks about how in this particular video of Joe Biden, that it has been run through the AI checker. You can go and you can check these things for AI. And this has a 67% percentage of having AI involvement, as contrary to some of his other videos that don't have that potential for AI manipulation. So are they, using AI to put Joe in some cases? Possibly. Are they using clones controlled by evil reptilians? That is something that you can't corroborate, right? You can corroborate potential AI use, maybe, but you can't corroborate the whole clone thing. That's something that you can say, and there's no proof to confirm or deny it. So is April and Elizabeth right? Hard for me to say. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. But I did want to talk more about evil reptilian overlords and Shapechangers. First, if April is right and they're making clones of Joe Biden, then they're probably not replacing world leaders like Barack Obama or Bill Clinton with reptile people, or King Charles, because that's the idea of the reptilian narrative, is that they're shape-changing and that world leaders are actually evil, demonic reptilian beings. If they are able to make clones of these guys, they wouldn't need to replace them. So if the clone idea is true at all, whether it's a little Elizabeth April story or the many other stories that are out there about Joe Biden as a clone, well then it's probably not the case that there's evil reptilian shapechangers impersonating world leaders, unless of course I guess you could get various groups doing various things. But what are the odds? Maybe it's better odds that both of them are false narratives. I do not think that Barack Obama or Bill Clinton or King Charles are actually reptile people. But when I say false narratives, I mean false narratives with a twist. Now, I am actually very pro-reptile. Kundalini energy is often depicted as being a snake. Mother Aya, ayahuasca, is often depicted as being a giant anaconda. Here we have what might be an ancient Egyptian depiction of a serpent rising from the blue lotus, which they may have used in much the same way. But what about the reptilians? Well, countless experiencers have encountered reptilian beings. Reptilian beings seem to be a thing. Now, of course, in many experiencer accounts, it's hard to determine what exactly is real and what's not, because the beings are able to project images into your mind and even potentially implant false memories. That seems like that's a thing too. So it's hard to be sure that what they're seeing is in fact real. So are they seeing reptilians? I think they probably are. I think there really are reptilian beings. Of course, you never know. So I have to add that in there, because you never know what's what when you're dealing with the phenomenon. I think a lot of it is representational, but I do think there are real reptilian beings. Maybe they came from a distant star or different, parallel universe. Maybe they came from Earth. Who knows? But I think there are real reptilian beings. They may live, or some of them may live, in underground cities. I think that is also very likely. The Silurian hypothesis may in fact be true, at least in part. And many beings, whether they're reptilian or gray or Nordic, have the ability to change their shape, or at least how they're perceived by the recipient of that image. And I've talked before about how there does seem to be some interaction, potentially, according to ancient Vatican archives, between wealthy and noble families in the 1500s in Europe and underground beings. So, there is definitely a link between shape-changing reptilians and wealthy and powerful individuals. And there are certainly secret societies. I think most of the secret societies are perfectly harmless or even beneficial, even goodly. But there are probably also negative secret societies as well. I've talked before about my experiences that have corroborated to me that there are certain spiritual truths underlying certain religions. I'm not saying the religion itself is like 100% right, but there is something there. There's some there to some of these religions, and I've had the very good fortune to experience some of that. I believe that Buddha and Jesus were probably ascended masters, and that they were here to help us, and that they were guided, possibly, or at least allied with beings of light of a higher dimension. The Arcturians, for example, are thought by many to be some of those higher dimensional beings that are helping us. And they may have had a hand in shaping the Reiki protocols that I use and others for hands-on healing. The chi, the force, is everywhere and it's universal, but there are certain protocols and attunements in Reiki that you can use to make it a little easier. And I think it does. I think it makes it easier, and it makes sense to me that higher dimensional beings may have helped us use the chi a little bit more effectively. But if there are beings of light and positivity working with us, could there also be beings of darkness, beings of lower vibrations that feed off of things like anger and fear and hate, while the light feeds on love and light? I think that's entirely possible, guys. It's entirely possible that we could have, demonic activity, not necessarily Christian or related to any religion, but beings of low vibration that mimic how we think of as demons. I think that's entirely possible. Could some of those manifest as reptilians? Or could reptilians be in service to them? Or at least some subset of reptilians? Because here I have to add, a lot of people, a lot of experiencers who interact with reptilians actually get along with them fine. They hang out, they're having fun, they're good folks, a lot of these reptilians. Some of them, however, are not. There's definitely a lot of experiencers that have encountered negative, hostile, aggressive reptilians as well. So, it's a mixed group, like with anybody. Are there more experiences that are negative with reptilians rather than, say, Nordics? Yeah, absolutely. In the experiencer accounts that I've researched, yes, absolutely. There are very few, almost no negative experiences with Nordics. Very, very few. And there are definitely way more with reptilians. So, could there be a group of negative reptilians that are working with various secret organizations or even cabals around the world that may be interconnected in using these powerful people to influence the world? Yeah, maybe. Like I say, I think there is a potential for this, but I think that there is some underlying truth to it. There's beings or shape-changing beings. They do interact with people. There may be negative beings that are trying to have an influence among wealthy families and powerful groups. I think that's entirely possible that some of the dark rumors that we have heard, sacrifice and all that kind of stuff, maybe some of that is even real. But does that mean there is an all-powerful, evil, demonic reptilian force that is controlling humanity or that deigns to control humanity? No, I don't think that necessarily means that. I think there have been stories and mythology built on some underlying element of truth. But there's also the good guys. We are not alone in this battle. There are beings in presences here to guide and help us. So if there are negative beings, there are also beings of light. But I don't think that Barack Obama or Bill Clinton are actually lizard people and reptile people. Like I say, I think there has been a lot of mythology and stories and nonsense that is built around something that is very possibly real. So to sum up, I think there are shape-changing reptilians. Some of them may be negative, maybe unpleasant fellows. Maybe if they are connected to metaphysical matters, dimensional matters, maybe they are connected to lower vibrating entities. If they are from another dimension, the reptilians themselves, because some of these beings that we are encountering do seem to come from other dimensions. If some of those are reptilians and they are metaphysical beings that may survive in ways that we don't off of things like vibration, is it possible that they might feed off of things like negativity, hate, anger, fear, pain, that sort of thing? Loosh, for example. Could some of that be true? Yeah, absolutely it could. But I think people tend to focus too much on the negative and the hostile. I think because it gets our hair up, right? Like a horror movie. It's kind of fun to think about in that horror movie way. But I think that there is a bigger picture going on, and that is just one slice of a much bigger pie. So I tend not to focus on the negative and focus on the positive, because we do seem to co-create a lot of these events. And I would much rather be co-creating positive events, hanging out with these fine gentlemen right here, rather than this guy right here. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure would appreciate it. Smash the like button, the subscribe button, become a channel member to support the channel, buy some merch in the merch store, get a coffee mug or a t-shirt. There's plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.